Hey, welcome to Discovering More. We're talking about caring today, caring for other people. And so this past Sunday, I really started with trying to make sure people really felt that comfort from God in the midst of, there's a lot of reasons somebody might need care and concern. And looking back, I spent a lot of time kind of on grief, maybe loss and that kind of stuff. Although there's a lot of things that lead to needing comfort. But ultimately, it all flows from the fact that we have first received comfort from God. It's kind of like the whole love your neighbor as yourself thing. It says love your neighbor as yourself. So if we're loving our neighbor more than ourselves or less than ourselves, or we don't love ourselves at all, we're going to be imbalanced and probably loving in an unsustainable way. So it's kind of that clarification. If you're going to be caring for others, make sure first that you're finding your care and your comfort in Christ, or you might actually be needing something from that person rather than just being able to be there for them.
I think you used this verse, and I don't know what it is, but it talks about, I think it's in Romans, it talks about that we can comfort others as we have been comforted in Christ.
Yeah.
And so, it begins, our ability to really bring comfort and care to people does really begin with being rooted in our understanding of God's love for us individually, but that He also loves everybody else. And that as we have opportunity, we can be conduits of that love and that comfort. So,
one thing that we had in this series that we really tried to stress is that there can be overdoing it. There can be over caring, and you also have to be careful of setting healthy boundaries. That's something I didn't necessarily pick up on too much in my sermon. But when it comes to caring for others, there does come a point where we can become enablers of unhealthy lifestyles or unhealthy systems, and there's a hard tension there. If we think about how we show up for other people, we want to care for maybe adult children or adult parents or coworkers or whatever it is, but we can get to the point where we actually become enablers, and we're not helping these people maybe lean on Jesus, but they're really leaning on us, and maybe we're creating some actually further unhealth.
Yeah, well, and there's a difference between caring for someone, bringing comfort for someone, and feeling like I need to fix the problems. And sometimes we can get caught up in that of thinking, okay, I need to provide for all these different needs that individual has to try to fix things. And that, I think that's where many people can get into the problem of getting drawn into trying to do everything for someone versus, again, showing care, love, and helping strengthen that person in their connection to Christ and finding true comfort there.
Yeah, I guess it makes me think of John 6. I was going to do the whole, if you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. If you teach him how to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. But I was like, that's not from the Bible. But John 6, in John 6, Jesus does the miraculous feeding of the 5,000. Actually, it might be in John 5. And then in John 6, it's this dialogue with the crowd because he feeds them. And then they all come back. They try to find him. He crosses the water like, hey, how'd you get here? Hey, you got more bread? And Jesus like, you guys are just here because you wanted more food. It must have been good bread. That's all I got to say. Like homemade sourdough and whatever it is. And so he calls them out. He's like, you guys just want more bread, but I want you to feed on the bread of life, And so this idea of like, even in Jesus's healing ministry, in his miracle ministry, the ultimate goal, and you see it in Mark chapter 1 or 2 as well, the crowds are coming to him. The ultimate goal for Jesus is, I got to go other places so that they receive the good news of the kingdom. So there's Jesus wants freedom for the soul and not just food for the body or that temporary healing. So, if we're dealing, I think there's issues of, sometimes there can be issues of maybe addiction or lifestyle choices that follow trauma, and we can feel bad for people because of what they've gone through. And so when we're Jesus balances together truth and grace. It says he's the one full of grace and truth, and we're not looking to be people who just turn others away.
Right.
But there is we want to help them live a whole life.
Yeah.
and not just get them through to another day.
Yeah. And if I could just change the direction just a little bit, one of the things that occurs to me is on the other side of being willing to receive care from somebody.
Yeah.
I think men in particular seem to me to tend to have a little bit of more of an issue with this. I know I'm that way. I tend to not let people know when I'm struggling emotionally or spiritually, and I go to the Lord, but God gives us people to help us, and He works through people, and it's a good thing to know, to have people in our lives we can trust and say, I'm struggling, and allow them in, and allow them to provide the kind of care that really can only come from a physical connection with somebody.
Yeah, and along with that, I just visited a woman in a nursing home yesterday, and it's tough for her to receive care. And I just reminded her, I said, it's actually very caring for you to allow people to care for you. So one of the ways we can actually risk care is by allowing other people to care for us, not being closed off, walled off, or thinking I got to do this myself. It is humbling to have to receive care from others, but it's also providing another person that opportunity to care, which in itself is an act of care for that person.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. If I just would go one more direction,
Yeah, please.
I just feel like this is a really good opportunity. We talked about it in worship this week, but just a reminder that we have a Stephen ministry here at Peace, which is about caregiving. And we have a lot of people who have really committed themselves. They've gone through some very serious training, and they're here and available. So that's just one direction you can go if a person is looking for someone to come alongside them as a Christian friend, not a counselor, but a Christian friend, to provide that kind of one-on-one, just kind of loving care and consideration.
Yeah.
And it's all anonymous. You just connect with that one person, and so you can check in with us online. And if you're interested, you can contact me, and we can talk more about what it's like, or how that process works. But it is a great opportunity for people that are struggling.
On the spectrum of talking to a coworker and talking to a professional counselor, it's more toward professional counselor in that they've had training.
Yes.
But still, it's a great option for me. I don't think I need to see a counselor about this, but I need somebody to help me work through this.
Yeah.
And I want somebody who's actually been through some sort of training. And it might be the case, this is often the case, that you yourself might not, how many times do we need to see an ad before we're actually going to make the purchase kind of deal? So you might need to hear this 100 more times, fine, hear it 100 more times. But if you know somebody as well who's going through something, I think that's a lot of people get referred to Stephen Ministry.
Right.
So if you know somebody, you should ask them and say, hey, would you be interested in this? I think this would be a big benefit for you with what you're going through. Maybe they lost a loved one, or maybe they just went through divorce or something like that.
Going through some serious medical issues, all sorts of concerns that we can just really benefit from. And some of us don't have a close Christian friend that we feel is going to provide that kind of support.
Right.
So,
how do you know about how many Stephen ministers we have? Who are ready to?
I know it's over 20 people that are currently active Stephen ministers that are willing to.
So I guess if you're worried, I don't want to take up the resources, we have 20 people ready to go, ready to take on a Stephen minister. It's a 1 hour a week time commitment, right? It's generally.
Yeah, I'm not even, honestly, I'm just kind of stepping into helping with the leadership end of this thing. But you set the times with your caregiver, whatever that looks that's comfortable for you. Yeah. So
it's somebody to pray with you, talk through things with you, and that's a blessing in and of itself. So
definitely.
Again, it's a free program that we offer here at Peace, and take us up on it. Take us up on it if it's something that would be a benefit to you. And I think that's one of the blessings of the church is that we have people around us all the time, and we think we're walking alone, but everyone's going through something, And there's people around us, like you said, David. Like God has built the church so that we're interdependent. We're not dependent on one another in that sense of I need you, but I do need you just like you need me. So interdependency is huge. So and maybe that's a call for you to also say, who is there in your circles who might just need a word of encouragement right now? Yeah. Maybe that friendly text, or just if God puts somebody on your heart, make the phone call. Make the phone call, because that's sometimes how God works. It's just like a name or a face comes to you, and you don't know why, but maybe it's just God saying, hey, reach out to this person. Maybe they just need somebody to make a connection with them today. We don't know what they're going through, but send the text, make the call, send the email, knock on the door, whatever it is. Check in and just ask, hey, how you doing? How are things? I'm praying for you. Yeah. It can be as simple as that.
I think that's a good spot to wrap it up.
So find somebody to care for today. And glad you're with us here at Peace. And God's blessings.